Welcome back, you mutated apes. Once again, we'll move past the majority of stuff other channels have covered ad nauseum. It's time to begin our journey with Mutant Year Zero. So let's start by discussing the Session Zero for your new game. But before we begin, I want to address two misconceptions I've seen in some videos about Mutant Year Zero and others about having a Session Zero. Many people refer to the Ark as a minigame, but this characterization does not do it justice. The Ark allows the players to collaborate and build their secondary world together. So it's not just some mere minigame. Some of the things that the characters find in the zone affect the Ark in different ways. And some of the ways are, by developing the Ark in one way, can leave it open for various hazards or exploitation in others. Characters who ignore the needs of the Ark and lose it are in for a tough time. Always keep in mind the main theme of the game and keep this in context. Survival. Not just for the characters, but for the people. Some channels go so far as to recommend not doing a Session Zero, and you certainly can. You can do that with a lot of games. But with Mutant Year Zero, if you don't, the group is putting a lot of decisions in the hands of one person, a lot like other RPGs. The players are also giving up the ability to shape their secondary world that their characters are going to play in and develop the ties to it. Why? Because on page 22 of the character creation process, you are asked to develop relationships with PCs and NPCs, and a big dream for your character. These elements allow you to place concepts on the character and set them within the context of the Ark and set the stage for exciting scenarios during gameplay. During this step in the character creation process, a lot of these decisions carry over into the creation of the Ark. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into the 12-step process. The core book provides a comprehensive guide to setting up the game, but it can be helpful to group these for context. Step 1 and 2 concern the location of the game world. Now, you can use one of the two pre-made zone maps, or you can create your own. If, however, you're new to running Mutant Year Zero, starting with a pre-made map may be your best choice. If you choose to create your own, you will need to decide on a couple of the following things. The location of the game is a post-apocalyptic Earth, but where on Earth are you? The next one is the specific city or urban area in which the game takes place. The map itself does not need to be overly detailed. A large grid pad works just fine for this, as mentioned before, to do the layout. You can draw in as much as you need to, or just draw a couple of sectors. If you draw a couple of sectors, the game master will need a mini-map for referencing what is not on the map. That keeps the players in the dark what's beyond the Ark's location. If you're playing online, you may find it helpful to use the Find My Path website to create and share your map with the other players. To set up the canvas in your favorite image editor, use the dimensions 1927 by 1160. When loading the map as background, leave the placement settings default. Okay, next let's discuss why you might want to combine steps 3, 4, 8, and 9 as part of a conversation. Step 3 involves determining the type of Ark you have, such as a parking garage or a cruise ship. Step 4, choosing the sector on the zone map, is the location. Is it near a river, atop a geographical rise, in the middle of the destroyed urban sprawl? Step 8 further connects the PCs with some of the NPCs who live in the Ark. Okay, step 9 is about the Ark's population size. It's recommended to start population somewhere around 200 people, as a smaller population can make a large Ark hard to defend. The average ocean liner can hold approximately 3,000 people, while a river cruise ship is more like 150. Now, these are just rough estimates, and they only consider the space needed for just the passengers, okay, not the crew. We also need to account for the various factions and the leaders mentioned in step 7 and the rest of the population overall. So it's essential to have a population large enough to accommodate all of these groups and take this into consideration. Step 5 is all about laying out the Ark as a map. Again, you don't need to make this one hard for yourself. Just print out something in black and white. Trace over a printed image or use digital tools to create and print one for yourself if you need to. But you're not Rembrandt. You're not Dyson Logos. So don't try to be them. Step 6 is all about the elder. This one is pretty straightforward. Just bang it out and get it done. When it comes to step 7, take some time with it. You don't need to use all of the boss archetypes, but take the population size into context and get a rough estimate about how many people will be in each faction. Like the elder, you could go ahead and label some of the locations on the arc map for where these bosses are found. Step 10, where you choose the location of the water source, simple, just do it, okay? Step 11 is essential to setting up the arc and affects a lot of future aspects of the game and warrants its own discussion. For now, just review the development levels and categories with your group and consider how they reflect the arc. Finally, we come to step 12, choosing the season in which the game starts. Now, this may seem like a simple decision, but it significantly impacts all aspects of gameplay. Consider all the factors around weather conditions and seasonal weather events when starting and choosing which season to begin playing, especially for the seasons on a post-apocalyptic Earth. For example, if you choose summer or spring, the zone's inhabitants may be more active, and you may encounter seasonal weather events such as rain, flooding, tornadoes, or heat waves. On the other hand, if you do choose to play during winter or fall, the cold can be just as challenging as the stifling heat. The lack of foliage may make some targets, locations, or movement more visible, but finding resources in the zone may be more dangerous, as the zone's inhabitants will be active and looking for them too. With character creation out of the way, the zone map done, the arc is all set up, it's now time for the GM to draw or roll for the first threat and get down in the rot to play Mutineer Zero. So here we have it, your own little bit of starting info for getting involved with Free League's Mutineer Zero, at least the core game. We'll talk about the others later. So as usual, everybody, get out there, play some games, have some fun, and just be good to each other.